The White House is struggling to manage three big controversies overshadowing its agenda. First, there's the IRS targeting of conservative groups. There are still so many questions about the night of the Benghazi attack. And then there are the allegations of overreach at the Justice Department. A top Republican raising new questions about the president's moral authority and ability to govern. Listen.
I think the constellation of these three scandals ongoing really takes away from the president's moral authority to lead the nation. Nobody questions his legal authority, but I think he's really losing the moral authority to lead this nation, and he really needs to put a stop to this. I don't care whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. Nobody likes to see the opposite party punishing you for your political beliefs.
Senator Rand Paul there. Brad Blakeman, the former deputy assistant to President George W. Bush. Sally Kohn is a political blogger, Fox News contributor. You know them both well. Guys, great to see you.
Nice to see you.
Brad, let me ask Sally first. What do we have the right to expect from a president morally, Sally?
You know, it's a great question. It's especially a great question on Memorial Day. And I want to, of course, start by giving my thanks to everyone who's served this country bravely and lost their lives for this country. You know, today is the kind of day we want to remember the great things we've done as a nation and not get mired in the sort of petty politics that seem to be dragging us all down. What's happening here?
Wait. Sally, morality is
we all
mired.
Know.
I mean,
Jamie,
really?
what I'm about to say is we all know that these scandals, which the president has been trying to actively pursue as much as everyone else, what the Republicans desperately want is something they can tie to President Obama, some way to drag him down. In absence of being able to do that, now they're turning to rhetoric. You know, it's pretty pathetic.
But define for me, Sally, what morally we have a right to expect from our president.
Well, tell me exactly where he's lost that morality. I mean, look, I would be happy to talk about where I think this president has not shown moral leadership when he's, for instance, deported more fathers and mothers in this country, you know, than any other president in history, or the use of drone strikes. Those are really legitimate conversations to have. But to suggest there's somehow an implication in moral leadership because some scandals have happened while he has been president that he has not been tied to and is trying to appropriately respond to, we're kind of grasping at straws here.
I don't know, Brad. What do you think we're getting morally from this president?
Well, Jamie, a president derives his power from his leadership, his credibility, and his policy, and he's failed us on all three. And when you talk about morality, the people expect, especially those who serve our country and who've died for our country, those people deserve the kind of respect and credibility from their leader that they've given to their country. And we haven't gotten from this president. This president is losing his credibility. People don't believe this president when he talks about Benghazi, when he's indifferent to the targeting of Americans by the IRS or the targeting of the press. This is not what we expect from a president. And as long as the president acquiesces to these scandals and doesn't lead by example, he lets people in the IRS retire. They're not fired for cause. And in some instances, he promotes them to higher positions.
Well,
so
Sally,
as long as the president fails to lead, he's going to hurt this country.
Guys, Brad, you're basing this on news this week that certain people who were involved and at the center of certain questions and scandals are getting promotions or allowed to not testify. And Sally, I'll tell you something. On the president's behalf, every intelligence officer or military person that I know, hats off to the president for having the forthright decision-making power to say, UBL, you're out. And he gets credit for that.
It's kind of not the only thing he's done, but I'll agree.
I want to be fair in mentioning that on this Memorial Day weekend, but what about the questions? I didn't raise the questions. Senator Rand Paul raised the questions. What's your response?
Yeah, look, the president has been like unbelievably clear in condemning any political targeting by the IRS, in saying that the Department of Justice should not be threatening and intimidating the press through any
But it's gone
subpoenas.
on, Sally.
Excuse me,
it's gone
Brad,
on under his watch. He's the chief executive.
Brad. But what would you do? You'd rather have the president sort of hastily fire people, and you would consider that leadership?
When they admit wrongdoing, they should be fired.
Brad, the president of the United States acting hastily in order to fire people, in order to
You don't act hastily when people admit wrongdoing.
Can I throw out a specific?
Critics would
Sally,
not be leadership.
Can I throw out a specific? Fox News learned that Eric Holder personally signed off on looking at James Rosen, our correspondent, State Department, emails and phone calls, and even his parents. You want to respond to that? Should Eric Holder be fired?
Here's what I don't know. And I do think there should be a full investigation, which, by the way, the president has also supported. Look, here's what I don't
by
think
the
is
Justice Department.
Leadership.
An internal investigation investigating themselves.
And we could talk about whether, Holder should be involved in that investigation. I don't think he should be. That's right. But suggesting that leadership would be the president hastily firing people before anyone knows all of the facts is I don't know, completely the opposite of leadership. Again, this is just conservatives trying to find some way to tie
Sally,
President Obama to these scandals that he has had nothing
When people in the
personally to do
executive
with.
branch
It's
of government
desperate.
have admitted to criminal wrongdoing, they need to be fired. They don't have to retire,
Who
and they don't have
admitted
to take
criminal
leave.
wrongdoing?
Yeah,
Brad?
exactly.
Sorry,
when you
who?
target Americans for their political beliefs, that is criminal wrongdoing.
Before we go, last question,
God,
Brad.
we
Let
should
me
never
throw
get to the
this
bottom
out
with
real
facts.
quick,
Facts,
Brad.
schmacks.
Yesterday, Congressman Peter King was on the air with me, and I asked him, as a member of the House Homeland Security Committee, you don't even know where the president was the night of the Benghazi attack? He said, I don't even know. Should he?
Of course. If the president were proud of what he was doing before, during, and after the attacks, we would know about it. We certainly knew about it when he went after Osama bin Laden. We had a tick-tock of what the president did, where he was, what orders he gave, what the responses were, yet we can't get any of this information with regard to Benghazi. Why is that?
Sally says it's coming.
You know
Guys,
what?
I
All
gotta
I
leave
say
it
is
there.
that sounds pretty desperate to me if that's the biggest complaint you got about this guy.
All right.